Well, it's definitely a sad day in professional wrestling. Actually, really a sad week.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Unfortunately, if you haven't known, which I'm sure you already know by now if you're a wrestling fan, Dusty Rhodes has passed. And it's hard to top Dusty Rhodes. I mean, he's definitely one of a kind and a true legend,
Yes.
and someone that's really can never be replicated again.
A real wrestling fans wrestler.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And we could go into some details about how he passed. Really, I mean, he was found, I guess, unresponsive. Really, he had apparent by Dave Meltzer reported that he had some kidney failure and was dehydrated, and then passed away. But I'm sure that's not the whole. I mean, they said he fell, which I could see that too. But
Yeah.
there's probably more.
Well, he's in wrestling. They always fall.
Yeah,
You know,
they're trained to fall.
realistically, yeah.
But I'm sure there's more of the story than we really know. I mean, just looking at Dusty Rhodes, over the past, I'd say like year or so, I've noticed like a significant weight loss, but he definitely didn't look healthy. You could see there's something kind of. He just didn't look like he didn't look well. I mean, not saying that the weight loss was making him look bad, but he just didn't look healthy to me. I just saw him like, something's up.
Now, see, I just thought he just lost his weight.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I thought. I thought when you say he looks bad, and now I see it, I just thought, well, yeah, of course he looks bad. He's 70.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the only thing I thought.
yeah, something just. I mean, even I noticed just looking at him in pictures like the past month before his passing. People would put pictures up on Facebook or websites. He just didn't look right. Something looked off. I saw him that polka dot dust thing. I mean, that wasn't. You're not going to look good with makeup on, of course, like that.
No.
But even before that, he just didn't look right. He just looked sick. So I'm sure he might have been battling other conditions or other health issues besides that. But
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to do an autopsy and if we're going to get to see like a real cause of death.
yeah, I don't know. As of now, I've looked. I really can't find anything. It's just kind of hearsay. But let's hope they have at least come to a conclusion with it. I mean, I guess if they're going to release it to the public or not, I mean, remains unseen.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just an unfortunate event. It's just, I mean, there's no other way around it. It's terrible. I mean, it's one of those big icons. I mean, he's been covered. His death has been covered by ESPN, a lot of huge radio and television outlets.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere.
Even like a lot of like the local stations are picking up.
Absolutely.
The details of his passing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just that alone shows how big of an influence this man was and how big of a legend and icon he was.
And he was still working.
Yeah.
He was still showing the ways to the NXT guys.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Steen had a very heartfelt. I want to say an apology, but he was lamenting over the fact that he should have talked to Dusty over the last month, and he thought that he was always going to be there, and now he's not.
Yeah, that's what I always make a thing to do is always keep in touch with people you care about, and always be nice to them before you leave them, because in a conversation or face to face or at a party or wherever, because you just never know when you'll see someone again. And that's true for life with everything. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen next week. So you got to be just respectful and polite to the people and ones you care about, and even strangers. But I mean, if it's someone you really know and care about, make sure you make the moment count, because you might not get it again.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, you just don't know. It's very unfortunate this happened. I mean, Dusty, when you look at it, really wasn't that old, 69 years old.
No, yeah, I mean, in wrestling terms, that puts him like,
well, I mean,
up there.
Yeah.
But as a human being.
That's, I think, a little too soon.
Yeah.
I would say the average, I'm not a Census Bureau person, but I think the average life expectancy for people now, I mean, for men is probably like 75 or so.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, might be a little bit older than that, but it's just gone too soon. But he was in that generation of the steroids and the drugs and the human growth hormone and God knows what.
You looking at Dusty, you can't really say that. He did not do that.
Well, that's why he lived so long, I'm sure, because he wasn't taking a lot of that stuff.
Too.
I'm sure maybe he had some alcohol and some other things, but it definitely wasn't steroids or human growth hormone of any kind that I'm aware of. But I mean, I don't live with the guy. I never knew. I don't know these people. That's one thing. So I love about some of these shows. These guys act like, they're right next to Dusty Rhodes and they know everything. We don't know everything. Jeez, I don't know. I mean, I'm just, making an assumption here. Well, if you want to listen to it, fine. If you don't. I don't know.
He was that big for how long?
Yeah.
So that doesn't help.
No, it's very hard on your health, in other parts of your body, your knees, your back, my goodness. And doing professional wrestling for as long as he did.
Kidneys, heart.
Oh, yeah. And doing wrestling for as long as he did, that didn't help either. But you can see that his stamina lasted a long time for wrestling. His body, I mean, I'm sure it wore out, but he still was doing what he loved to do. I mean, and he never really... It's interesting about Dusty Rhodes, because he was one of those guys where he could be older and still wrestling, and he didn't get sick of watching him wrestle.
No, yeah, because he had great stuff even in ECW.
Uh-huh. I remember him in TNA, too, when he was kind of feuding...
Yeah,
with some people with that Sports Entertainment Extreme, and then kind of feuding with Jeff Jarrett, and it was neat because he was put in a position when it's interesting with wrestling because when the right things happen and the right writing happens and the storylines go together and they make sense, that's what happens. Like you want to see the certain characters in the positions and situations that they're in, and I think they did an excellent job with TNA, with him in TNA.
Yes, yeah, I'd say his TNA run is very good. It's on par, of course, for Dusty.
Absolutely. He was put in the right situation, and he's helping Jarrett. Then he was feuding with Jarrett, and they were, Jarrett was making him seem like the old has-been. They hogging the spotlight, and it was good. I love what they did. Then they made him the director of Authority for a while, and then he went to WWE. But at that time, watching Dusty was fun.
Yes.
I guess we should probably talk about our first exposure to Dusty as well. You want to go first? Or you want me to?
I guess you two. I kind of have two.
Okay.
Well, I guess like the absolute first would be like when he was doing the Common Man, Polka Dots, and like WWE, which I barely remember because that was so long ago. But my first like real like tangible memory of Dusty didn't have Dusty in it. It was when his son as Goldust came out. As the American Dream.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and he got the tar beat out of him by Bradshaw.
Oh, Bradshaw. Okay.
Bradshaw.
I remember that. It was a funny thing because I'm like Dusty Rhodes, it's his son. Haha. I was like,
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was funny when that happened. I remember that too. That was like that whole weird like Goldust was stepping out of his Goldust kind of look and doing other things. It was definitely a more. I guess you could say like a more involved, a more different side of the character of Goldust.
Yeah.
It was like that attitude where they were starting to, it was like that late 97, early 98 era where they were starting to kind of put the Attitude Era together. I mean, it was kind of starting before then, obviously, but they were really starting to get a little bit out there with a lot of the gimmicks and things that were happening. So that was pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah, so what was your first memory of Dr. Rhodes? Talk about Hunter Bones.
Well, if you will, huh? Yeah. My first memory of Dusty Rhodes was WWF. I guess it was 1989 when he just first came in. But I saw him right away with the polka dots and that. And here's the thing with that: whether you think it's Vince McMahon making fun of Dusty Rhodes or it's just the way I kind of think is this: Vince McMahon at the time, was definitely selling toys, marketing, trying to make WWE, a global phenomenon, the wrestling brand to talk about.
Yeah.
Instead of just having it known as a wrestling company to wrestling fans, it's a wrestling company to average everyday people. They remember WWF for what it was. Any average conversation, it's like WWF or whatever. That was always the go-to wrestling company when you were talking about wrestling. So the way I saw it was, Vince McMahon had this whole vision, this whole idea for what he wanted these characters to be like. And you could say it's like DC or Marvel or whatever, Disney World, Looney Tunes. You have these characters that are appealing to kids, so you have to figure out a way to make them appealing to kids. And so, I guess Vince McMahon, he did the common average everyday plumber kind of guy, the common man for the American folk. And he was kind of doing that originally, and then they kind of stopped and they put the polka dots on them, and they still talked about that, but it was more polka dots and big color and fun. And honestly, flamboyance. And I thought nothing of it. I mean, to me, what the heck's the difference? Who cares? I mean, you had the Red Rooster, for goodness sakes, and some other characters. Battle Cat was there. I mean, what's wrong with Dusty Rhodes and polka dots? I don't really see the problem. To me, it's just a marketing thing, and it's just business, and I don't think anybody really should look further into that, because I'm sure Dusty Rhodes made a killing as Dusty Rhodes in WWF. There's
100%.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, so and plus they put Sapphire with him, which was funny too because she just
that was a great idea. Yeah, actually,
I see nothing wrong with it. It's just a funny valet. It's someone that's gonna help excel his character. You know, it was basically like she came out of the audience. She was like a super fan, and they put her with them, and they had fun, and it was just like an exciting experience for all parties involved. Everybody made money off it, involved in it. So, you know, hey, so that's what was my first exposure to him, and then as you could see, like he really did a good job in WWF. I mean. He had some good feuds. When he came in, he wrestled the Boss Man for a while. That was kind of his thing.
Yeah.
They had like kind of a Survivor Series kind of showdown with Dusty's team against Boss Man's team. Then after that, he feuded with Savage for a good amount of time, which was pretty good because I actually liked that feud. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, try to think of a bad Dusty Rhodes feud.
Yeesh, there's really not too many of them.
Right, yeah.
I mean, okay, say you're not gonna get like Frank Gotch against Antonio Rocca or whatever you're looking for, whatever kind of technical match, like a Dean Malenko against Benoit. But it's fun. Not all wrestlers have to be like technically sound and so superior and whatever. They can just be entertainers and be fun, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's right, yeah, and that's what Dusty Rhodes is.
It is.
It's a real wrestling fans wrestler.
I don't expect the man that's his size to do Hurricane Ranas and moonsaults off a top rope. I mean, God bless Vader, he did that, except the Hurricane Ranas. But, I mean, you just see it for what it is, and it's fun, and it's wrestling. So for him, as this common man, everyday, fighter for the people, I mean, he definitely succeeded at that. And fighting Randy Savage, I mean, that was classic. I mean, at Mania of 1990 was like him and Sapphire against Sherry and Savage, and that was fun.
And that was when he was the Macho King, too, right?
Yeah. Right around that time.
Yeah. That was like a fun match, that brought back Elizabeth too.
Yeah. Put her in the mix of it.
Yeah. He definitely had a time and place, and it's kind of weird because like that time seemed to be from the mid 70s to 2015.
Pretty much. I mean, I honestly could never get bored with Dusty Rhodes, and that shows you what a good wrestler, entertainer, and character he really had, because you never got bored with him.
No.
I mean, I don't really know pretty much prior. I mean, I know some of his stuff in the NWA was excellent. We can talk about that in a little bit too. But it was interesting with the Savage feud. That lasted a while. I mean, that went all the way into October, and then once that kind of ended, what they started doing was $1 Million Man started messing around with Dustin, kind of starting to harass him, and then Sapphire left Dusty at SummerSlam for the $1 Million Man's sellout or whatever. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And Dusty was without a partner, and then all of a sudden Dustin comes and they're together and they feud with DiBiase and Virgil. And then they have a good match at the Royal Rumble '91. And that helps everybody involved, because then it makes Dusty and his son look good, and then Virgil. DiBiase turns on Virgil and they start their thing, and then after that, the Rhodes hit the hay and got out of there and went to WCW. But at the time, it was a good send off. Everything was built right. Everybody kind of succeeded from it. I mean, no one really didn't profit from it, I'm sure. It was fun to watch. I mean, fans got what they wanted, and then they just kept the story going, and then Dusty went to WCW again. And that time was different. He was retired,
Yeah.
And that was more for Dustin to shine in WCW, which I think he did to a degree. But that kind of wore out, too, after a while. But, he did so much in WCW. I mean, we could talk about him with Jim Crockett Promotions all day and all night. And, this podcast will be 4 hours. But, he was a booker there. He took that place to, extremes and situations that they never probably dreamed of. I mean, they had stadium shows, and they had all these visions and ideas. I don't think the people that were in charge of the books were doing a good job, but Dusty himself, booking everything, keeping everything fresh. He's definitely keeping himself in the mix and on top, but hey, that's what wrestlers do.
That's right.
And he'd be dumb not to. He had good feuds with Flair. Him and the Road Warriors and all that against the Horsemen.
Oh yeah, that's always like fun to watch.
Yeah.
As much as the Horsemen beat up on Dusty Rhodes, there's nothing quite like Dusty Rhodes beating up on a Horseman.
Absolutely.
It's kind of fun.
It is. It's a good time. And there was always some kind of, everybody was feuding with everybody at the time, so there was always some kind of revenge and something to get you excited about going to see, Dusty Rhodes in an event or on pay-per-view. It was just, and it's hard to get that today. A lot of the entertainers and wrestlers out there, I just don't feel like they had that charisma like Dusty Rhodes had. a lot of it's just so corporate and so scripted and so not genuine that you lose interest in these people and who they are. But with Dusty, it's what it always needs to be in wrestling: just who you are, what your natural personality is, just revved up and excelling on television. And that's all that matters, really. That's what makes you the money. Only you can make yourself money. You can market yourself successfully if you know how to do that and you act as yourself, just a little bit turned up. But some people it just doesn't work.
And there's got to be something to be said about. I forget it. Someone was talking about this about Jimmy Hart.
Yeah,
and this can also be applied to Dusty and a handful of other people. You have to be doing something right if you're going from company to company and still be liked.
Yeah,
and Dusty Rhodes was never really looked at as a cancer.
No, he was looked at
not like a Vince Russo or something.
Absolutely not. He was looked at someone that's going to help you succeed and help you sell tickets. I mean, he was used with the WWF in the 70s. He would feud with superstar Billy Graham. They had some great matches in the Garden. Mm-hmm. And then he would go on to Florida. He was in Florida for a long time, helping out with that. Then he came to Jim Crockett Promotions, and everything he's pretty much done.
He won his first NWA heavyweight title in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, he's done so much.
I think he won it in the same building where they decided who was going to be the first NXT champion.
Wow.
Seth Rollins, I think. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah. Might have to do some research yourself, fans. I don't know.
But they were in the ring, because then he shake his hand.
I'm not sure.
It was Triple H and Dusty Rhodes. Congratulations on being the first NXT champion. And then Seth Rollins is waving the title belt around his head.
Well, I know in '78 he won the Florida Heavyweight Championship. As far as the NWA, his first title win, I honestly don't really know. Kind of before my time.
He had to have been NWA Heavyweight Champion.
Oh, absolutely.
Had to have been.
Not sure if it was Starrcade 84 ended in the Schmoz. Might have been 85. I'll have to get back to it. Let me take a look. I mean, I'm sure that, he did at least once or twice or whatever, It's like one of those things where you've watched it so many times and you forget about it after a while. It's how much wrestling. It's like wrestling overload.
Which is a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling. But,
National Wrestling Alliance, Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I don't know, though. That's a good question. I feel dumb for not answering that, though.
Oh, then what the hell? What the hell am I thinking of?
It says World Tag and everything. No, I don't think that he ever won.
See, that's what that dream does. Think about 100 bucks. Your brain gets all discombobulated with that. He's got a bicycle. He's got a bicycle. Oh, we're not going to get any of that on Botchamania anymore.
I know.
The insane Dusty commentary.
Oh, yeah, he did win one time. NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
So that was good. That's what I thought, too. I'm like, it's like one of the same...
It's listed under the Championship Wrestling from Florida.
Yeah. So he was the heavyweight champion of Florida as well, but yeah, August 21st, 1979.
We're at?
In Florida.
In Tampa, Florida. A house show.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That mystery's solved. I mean, it's just, it's so hard to do, a podcast on someone's life because there's so many experiences and so many stories and so many matches they've had. It's even hard to dissect how much that person has contributed to wrestling because they've contributed so much. I mean, my goodness, Dusty Rhodes himself, and I'm sure a lot of people hate him, and I'm sure a lot of wrestlers hate him, and I'm sure he probably ripped off people, and I'm sure that they ripped off him, so it's all even in the end. Because in the end, it doesn't really matter,
Oh, I don't know about that, but it seems like he comes out on top. It seems like he did more good than bad.
Absolutely. No one's perfect. I mean...
No, absolutely.
If we were perfect, we wouldn't be here,
Exactly.
But I remember WCW having
if I was perfect, I'd be booking TNA.
See, there you go.
I'd be infallible, just like that person who is right now.
I'm telling you, they're top notch. I know. It's just gonna get worse. With Dusty, I remember him as a commentator a lot with WCW too. I mean, because when we were younger, that's what I watched most of the time. I watched some WWF, but by the time, after Hogan and them left and the new generation, that was kind of in the gutter. I mean, WWF was in not the best condition in like 1994 through
Yeah.
whatever. But
It was like 93 through 95 was their dark period.
yeah, it was pretty rough. But watching Dusty in WCW, he was doing commentary, and he was really funny on the mic. And he did a lot of funny things, too, when you'd watch him on WCW Pro with Larry Sabisco and Gordon Soul. He'd make some funny comments, and very entertaining. And the funny part was, he'd always, like, you know, when he was on Nitro and some other shows, some other pay-per-views, he'd always try to, like, explain what the moves were, what the luchadors were trying to do, and he couldn't even pronounce the moves. It was a lot of fun. I mean, he's just one of those fun people, you know. And it didn't have to be perfect. I mean, like when Mike Tenay said like Hurricane Rod, I'd say Hurricane Rod or whatever. He'd be like, "What are you talking about?" You know, that's out of his league. But it was fun to listen to him watch. Yeah, it was just fun. I didn't like the NWO turn though when he joined the NWO. I thought that was a little lame. Like, couldn't you have Dusty Rhodes be like one of the head guys fighting for WCW? This is like his territory, his turf, fighting alongside like the Horsemen and Larry Sabisco and Sting, Luger the Giant, instead of just taking like the sellout and joining Scott Hall and that. I thought that was lame. That was just poor writing, I thought. I mean, by 1998 at that time, WCW didn't matter. They could just give you garbage and they'd be on top because it was just, they built that fan base and they built the loyalty and they were just on top of the world. And it was hard for WWF to, you know, once that WrestleMania came that year of 98, that's when they started getting that momentum and that again. But, yeah. I mean, WCW was fine in 98. You could say, like, the storylines and all that were bad, but it didn't really matter because so many people were watching and interested that, you know, they were on top. But
And plus they still had a chance to right the ship, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, everything comes in an ebb and flow, you know. But, like, they never got out of that ebb. That was their problem. No,
yeah, I mean, that's with corporate wrestling. When people are telling you what to do and the creative team can't work on it and they can't communicate, it's just a mess. And that's what I think what happened with Dusty when he was help booking in like the early 90s. He had, you know, some innovative concepts like Battle Bowl and things like that. Some different kind of gimmicks. It was a little cartoonish, but, you know, he had the ideas and he knew what to do, but, you know, once you get that corporate side involved and the people, the executives, you know, it just all falls apart. But, he was a smart man. He was good with gimmick matches. He's good with creative and concepts. He thought of a lot of things.
Well, the Dusty finish.
Yeah, that was true too.
You know, it was just mainly just a false finish, right?
Yeah.
It was the referee gets knocked down, takes a ref bump, something happens, new ref comes in.
That kind of thing. It was basically like the summing up. Really, it's just like the fans giving a false impression. Like you said, false finish. But like they were led to believe that one thing happened, then it turned around, and something else happened. So if like Barry Windham pinned someone and they think he's going to win the world title, then like you said, reversal of the decision or whatever, and that's basically it. Or the fans left that night happy, but then to find out later on, a day or two later on TV, that the decision was turned. You know.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. But you know what? It worked. A lot of it worked. Some of it got stale, I'm sure. But, you know, you can't argue the success. I think the issue with the Crockett's and that whole situation was that, you know, the money went out too quick. And they didn't realize they weren't responsible with the money. And, you know, they were just spending too much. And then it all went down, you know, south. They bought UWF for, you know, a certain amount of money. So they just kept on pumping money. And then not enough coming in. And no one was keeping track of the books. So that's what happens. And boom. You know, it's just any common sense business. You know, you make sure you keep track of your money and how much is being spent, how much is going out, and that's the issue there. But, you know, you can't really blame Dusty for those situations. You got to blame the accountant and, you know, Jim Crockett. That guy was running the show. You know, he was the man in charge. He was like the Vince McMahon, you know.
That's right.
And that's, I think, the problem, you know, with the NWA is, like, they never got past that wrestling barrier. They didn't become the common knowledge person talking about wrestling saying, "Oh, this is crazy. This is like WWF." Instead, they should have been like, if NWA had the right marketing and the right, you know, promotion around it, people would, you know, at the water cooler would say, "Did you see that street fight outside? It was just like NWA wrestling." You know, that common knowledge kind of thing. That's the one thing the NWA never really got by. You know, they not got past that because like
I think they were more stuck on like being a wrestling company, than like an entertainment company.
Exactly.
But I think WWE now takes it way too far.
Oh yeah.
You know, like if you want to have John Cena in a movie, that's fine. But if you want to have a movie company, so John Cena is constantly in movies, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah. That's always been their motto. They want to expand, but it just seems like the things that they try to do just never works. You know, like that world bodybuilding thing, the XFL, you know, nothing. They just got to stick with what they know, I guess, and that's entertainment wrestling or whatever they call it these days.
Yeah.
And that's where, and that was like the difference between NWA and WWF. You know, NWA was that hardcore wrestling fan kind of base. They were that cool rebel company, and then WWF was like that, you know, worldwide, you know, known wrestling company, but it was also like a kids cartoon show. So that was like,
Yeah.
you know, NWA guys are driving up in like motorcycles and Cadillacs, and WWF guys are driving up in like, you know, the big cartoon bus or whatever. You know, just a stupid comparison.
The
but,
Lex Express.
yeah, stuff like that.
Or a hearse.
Yeah,
Or a dump truck.
yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
or the police truck or whatever. Whatever the boss man's throwing the Mountie in these days, but.
Well, Dusty Rhodes, again, had the, you know, like a plumber's truck and the police car. Because he's the American dream, baby. He's the common man falling on hard times.
That's right.
Rick Flair, this is hard times.
I definitely think, you know, he came back to WWE. I didn't really watch that, did you? Like his current 2005 till now run? I don't really know what happened. I'm sure it was good.
But, you know, we've seen the influence of that because look at how much the younger guys, you know, were influenced by him.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not sure how closely he worked with Triple H.
Yeah.
But I imagine quite closely.
Yeah.
So, because, you know, look at all the younger stars. You can't even look at all the younger stars they've made, but you got to look at like all the companies they made. You know, it's like, you know, mainly Florida Championship and NXT, the two companies that he would have had a hand in working with.
Yeah. Well, proof's in the pudding, you know.
Yeah.
He knew professional wrestling and he knew what worked, and that's what, you know, makes you money. He's still making money, you know. I mean, he's still making money up till his passing. I mean, that's crazy. A lot of wrestlers from his time probably never got the opportunity to do that, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What a legend, what a smart man, what a good businessman when you think about it. I mean, always making money. You had a funny Dusty Rhodes story you wanted to talk about too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I heard this on a shoot interview with Terry Taylor, and they're sitting in a airport lounge, and I think this is when Dusty had he wasn't booking he wasn't booking WWF, but he has like some sort of like control to it. Okay, because like Terry Taylor's just starting to do the Red Rooster, and they're sitting in this airport lounge, and Dusty Rhodes has this Walkman, you know, big giant Walkman, you know, and he put in his earphones, and Terry Taylor starts talking. Whoo, the son of a plumber! Dusty Rhodes takes off his earphones. You know, did you say something? Oh, no, it wasn't me, man. It wasn't me. I didn't say anything. Puts the earphones back in. Whoo, the son of a plumber! The American dream, Dusty Rhodes, 5-time world heavyweight champion. Takes off his earphones. You say something? No, it's not me at all. It's not me at all. Then, like a week later, Terry Taylor starts getting de-pushed. He starts getting buried a little bit. And then he's just off WWE TV. Then 20 years later, they're at a party, and then they're on someone's back porch, and Dusty Rhodes turns to him and he says, "You know the headphones were turned down, right? There was no volume." And then he knew exactly what he was talking about.
Whoops.
That's a funny story.
That is. Well, there's another guy, Terry Taylor, that, you know, I really don't. People think he's known for wrestling as the Red Rooster, but I really honestly remember him as the tailor-made man and the man of the 90s, Terrence Taylor. That's what I remember him from.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, like his 1991 kind of run was, to me, that's what I remember Terry Taylor for. But I'm sure, you know, people remember him from other periods, but that was, to me, what I recognize him as. But, I mean, Dusty's just funny. He's a wild man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's 100 more stories you could talk about. I'm sure there's a lot more history you can go into. I mean, he was tag team with Dirty Murdoch when he was teaming up with him. I really liked Dick Murdoch. I thought he was a good wrestler.
Yeah.
I love the psychology he do in the ring.
Were they tag champs?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know.
Because they were in that movie, the NWA, or not the NWA, the AWA's The Wrestler.
Oh, okay.
So then they had a scene together. So I've never seen that movie. Have you?
Mm-mm. I see like VHS tapes sold on eBay of it, but I don't really recall ever seeing it. I don't think it's ever been on television. But I'm sure someone's seen it, somewhere. We can. If you're out there, let us know how that was. I mean,
Right, yeah. I did see it on sale at Walmart one time. Well, like, what's this? I had no idea really what it even was. It was so rare.
Well, he was North American Tag Team Champion with Dusty Rhodes.
Okay.
It's the NWA. Also, the NWA Florida Tag Team Champion with Dusty Rhodes as well. And even actually NWA American Tag Team Champion as well. And, NWA World Tag Team Champion with him. So he's definitely, it says the Detroit version of that. So
Okay.
yeah, so, and NWF, National Wrestling Federation. So they definitely won some tag team championships together. I mean, they were a big time tag team. And they kind of had like a falling out too. I like when Dick Murdoch came back and the NWA and Crockett, and I think it was like '86, and I think by '87 they were kind of feuding and stuff again. So I think that was pretty cool. Don't take my word for that. Do some research on your own, folks, for that one. But
And honestly, like, look into as much as you can on Dusty Rhodes. Like, don't take our word for it. Like, do the research yourself.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's more facts and information that you'll find out that we don't even know.
Right. I mean, sit down, watch some of his matches, and, like, really take the time and, like, watch some of his promos, how he comes across on the camera.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So, like, really take the time out and, like, study him and, like, get to know his body of work. Because it's something, not miraculous, but it's something special, for sure.
It's that natural charisma, and I think a lot of wrestlers today either have it or don't. And it just seems like more of them don't.
Yeah.
Or they're not allowed to show that for some reason. But what a legend. I mean...
Hear, hear.
Amen to that. I think Dusty will be missed. At least he'll get to, live on through his sons. Mm-hmm. Let's hope they, I mean, Dustin Rhodes had a pretty good career. Cody Rhodes, still finding his way, but, we'll see what happens with that.
He's still, I don't want to say he has time to grow, but, like, I think he's there. He's made it. He knows what he wants to do.
Yeah.
As soon as he breaks away from the Stardust gimmick.
It's hard to live in someone's shoes like Dusty Rhodes, or like a Bruno Sammartino, or, like a Ric Flair. I mean, it's tough, and you're always linked to that person, and no two people are the same, so it's hard to live up to that expectation. It's hard to be like that person. So you got to be your own person, which is tough too. You're always under scrutiny and that microscope on you. But I think they're doing pretty good for what they got. You know. Mm-hmm. Who do you think was Dusty's greatest rival?
The Horsemen.
Yeah,
all of them.
I would think so too. I think Ric Flair. It's like the main nemesis.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a counterpart to today. And nothing really. Nothing even in the Attitude Era was a group of guys versus like one guy. That one guy always had like this interchangeable group.
Yeah. Well, you could say Sting and NWO, but it's not that charisma like Dusty had. It was just different, Someone just fighting a group like that, it's tough because I think the problem with wrestling, within the past decade, maybe decade and a half, has been they don't stick around long enough with these angles and these groups. They're just, if it doesn't work in 5 minutes, it's gone. It's just like they don't let things naturally happen and build like they used to in the 80s. Like the Horsemen, that naturally clicked, but it's hard for that to happen again. It's like lightning doesn't strike twice. You're right. I don't really know someone that's trying to fight. I mean, you could say Steve Austin to a degree against maybe Vince McMahon, the corporation, but. Austin and McMahon, that's probably one of the greatest rivals, or Austin and The Rock, you could say that too, but yeah, it's so different though, it's...
Yes.
Like Dusty just had, that was just a great thing. It's just like lightning strikes and things happen, and it just works, and it's hard to make that happen again. I don't know if we'll see something similar, in our lifetime or not. I mean, it's just magic when you think about it.
I think we'll always see something like that, something that magical in sports, but it'll be different.
Yeah,
there's never going to be another Dusty Rhodes, but
absolutely
some random dude is going to come dang close.
I mean, he's pretty much the face of the NWA. I mean, pretty close. I mean, you could say Flair or Sting, but I really think Dusty Rhodes, one of the main players of the NWA, almost, I would say, the face.
Yeah.
I mean, him or Flair, it's pretty close. Because, like Hogan, he's like the face of the WWF. I mean, you could say Dusty at the time in the 80s, the face of the NWA. I mean, that's the guy. He's your main face. I mean, it's you can't replicate that. I mean, just a star.
Yes.
I really think you could just, I mean, like just to go back to about all the news and that, I mean, just that impact. I mean, even though he hasn't wrestled in an NWA ring in like a long time, that impact, that persona, that image, it's just overwhelming, and it stand the test of time, really.
Cause him being the dream, baby, took a pound of if you will. You see.
That was a good Dusty impression.
Thank you. I do pride myself on my Dusty.
You did an excellent Dusty. You dressed up as Dusty for Halloween. I think you did a great job.
I don't think we have a picture of that, though.
I don't know. We'll have to go digging around. I thought we did. It's somewhere.
Were you there for that party?
I think so. I was there for Captain Lou as well.
Oh, yeah, Captain Lou.
That was a good one, too.
Oh, that's a great one.
Got some good wrestling costumes.
You know, see, if I wasn't as hefty in the middle,
yeah,
Captain Lou would not have worked.
Exactly. You definitely pulled that off.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a pretty good, healthy discussion. I mean,
yeah.
It's hard to go into every little detail and all the history. We need 3 hours, and we don't got that amount of time. No. We work and have lives. So, with that being said, we thank you for listening. I'm sorry that this happened. Everyone's pretty much, regretful about it. And unfortunately, it's just one of those things in life where it's out of our control.
You got to be thankful for the time you did have with them.
Absolutely. Well, it was a great time, great memories, great ride. So thanks for listening, and I hope you guys, take the time, watch some Dusty matches, and enjoy what you had.
That's right, exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.